All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We got another show right here once again. My name is Lamar Gafford,
And I'm Gafford Brown.
and like we said, got another show here, episode number 22 of the Gafford and Brown Show. Big show today for us. Going to be talking about the almost every single thing that's happening going on in the sports world. But guess what, man? The playoffs time is now here in the NBA, and well, I guess right now this is the perfect time to do our predictions and everything. Wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. And we got ourselves 8 very good playoff series. We're going to try to split this segment up into 2 parts. First of all, we're going to really go ahead and talk about the East. Right now, we got ourselves 4 interesting series coming out of the East right now. And it all starts off with the defending champion Miami Heat. They're going to take on the Milwaukee Bucks in their first round matchup. Uh, care to give us a little insight about this one right away before we go ahead with our predictions, Rob?
Oh, hello? What is it? I hear repeat that more.
I was saying, care to give us a little bit of an insight right now before we get along with our predictions on this one?
Oh, right, yeah. I mean, the Lakers are in the playoffs, so that's been one of the huge storylines all season. So the Lakers are in the playoffs. The seventh seed is it, so it's something that they can hang their head on. And you have a lot of interesting matchups, and I'm excited mostly for the Chicago Brooklyn series because that's a series I think that's gonna surprise a lot of people. I think we're gonna see a Bulls team that's got a huge chip on their shoulder. So that's a lot of interesting stories. So far, what's been the most interesting storyline for you, Lamar?
I think to really going out here, seeing everybody getting in here, like you said, the Lakers getting moving all the way up to that 7th seed. I think that's pretty huge for them that they get a chance to draw San Antonio actually, rather than OKC, which I think OKC would have made it a little bit of a quick series. I'm not saying that the Lakers would probably win against the Spurs, but I think they might can be able to hang along with the Spurs a little bit more, given the injuries and given the ailments and everything that San Antonio may have. Really, I think if you look at it right now, the most important series that really stands out in front of me is going to be Denver and Golden State. I feel like that's going to be a high-powered one right then and there because you're going to see 2 teams that really care about their fan. Well, 2 teams that are really good. They're really entertaining. They have an entertaining brand of basketball, and you also got fan bases that are very. They're going to be very engaged to see how this series is going to wind up at.
Right, right. And because we get a rematch of Memphis versus the Clippers this year, a series that went 7 games last year. What are your thoughts about that one? Just looking at it on paper.
Looking at it, I really think that this is going to go 7 games, just like how it did in the last year. Actually, the difference is that this year, I think that this year the Clippers got home court in this one, and the Memphis and the Grizzlies do not. I really think, though, I actually think if you were to ask me right now, I'll go ahead and I'll say Memphis is probably going to go ahead and take this series. But I really think that this is going to go 7. What do you think?
I think it's going to go 7 as well. But this time, I'm going with the underdog in Memphis to get the upper hand.
Mm-hmm.
I think Memphis has a bit of a bad taste in them off of last year because they let up in that first game. Memphis led their entire game. I think it was a 20-plus point collapse that first game. They followed up the win the second one. But I think Memphis knows that they should have won this series last year and they let one get away. So I see them getting back revenge this year.
And most definitely on that one too. First of all, I really let's go with the predictions right here, right now, as we talk about heading out to the East. We got all of those matchups right then and there. We kind of talked a little bit about the some of the series right now, but let's go off to talk about the defending champion Miami Heat. They're gonna play against the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round. Um, you got the Heat right now, who basically they have the best record in the NBA at 66-16. Of course, you know they're the defending champions. They also got their big three of LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. And then you also got the Milwaukee Bucks, who's making it back to the playoffs for the first time since not 1999, but 2009, when they took the Hawks to 7 games in the first round. But they also got Brandon Jennings and Monte Ellis. What do you think about that series, and how long do you think it's going to go, and who you think is going to win it?
I think Milwaukee's going to win. I think Milwaukee's still in the game. Milwaukee's a pretty solid team. They have a lot of industry players. I think they can steal a game. Maybe get the other one, but you never know. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I definitely see Miami getting at least, one game. I see them stealing one game from Miami.
I pretty much have to say the same thing too. I think it's gonna. I feel like that the series is gonna go 4. I think Miami, of course, is gonna take it in a sweep pretty much, because something really screams to me about Milwaukee. They're not ready to do this, but I would be very surprised if this goes more than 5 games, really, because we can't really count out what Milwaukee can do offensively, because they are a pretty good team. But the question is, when it comes down to crunch time, what really scares me is who's going to actually go ahead and get the ball. Is it going to be Brandon Jennings? Is it going to be Monte Ellis? Who's going to defer to the other guy? So,
Well, I was thinking Golden State earlier this year, and I got to see we saw Monte hit one this year as well. So I think they've done a good job of sharing those roles. I just think it's Miami. It's Miami.
right.
They're the best team in the league. So it's going to be a close one. I think they're going to have a couple close games, but Miami's going to win 4-1. And go ahead and take care of business probably the rest of the way.
More than likely. Because right now you would pretty much would think here that at least Miami's road to the playoffs could be a little bit easy, given if the dominoes may fall in the right place and all that. But, I really think that, again, I think they're going to come out of the East no matter what here. But, honestly, they're going to make quick work in this series, and it's pretty much going to be status quo in this one right there. So, go on to the next series right now in the East. Pretty much is probably going to be one of the better ones here that's going to be in the Eastern Conference right now. The New York Knicks going to play against the Boston Celtics, and this series is kind of a rematch from what happened in 2010, but the difference was Boston was the higher seed that year, and they swept the Knicks. Now the tables have turned right now. New York has home court advantage. They're looking like the better team, while Boston, on the other hand, a little bit older. They're still trying to, find pieces to mesh and everything too. What is your prediction on that series?
I like Boston in 7.
Nice.
I like Boston in 7. I just think Boston just has that championship pedigree. I think they just have that will to win, and I think the Knicks. Yeah, but they're the hot topic. They have the hot streak. People want they're the number 2 seed. Everyone wants to see them in Miami play for the Eastern Conference Finals, or whatever. But I just think Boston has too much pride to lose in the first round. I just can't see it happening. And I just think Boston's going to upset them. I think Boston's ready. I think we've seen them that they've scrapped through this season. They've made well without Rondo. Jeff Green has stepped up into the role of being the third guy. Avery Bradley is great on both ends of the court. Jason Terry is finally coming to his own. You still have Courtney Lee there. I think Boston takes it. What are your thoughts?
I I might have to digress on a little bit on this one. I really think that I'm not going to count out Boston, of course, because we've seen what they can do in the playoffs before. When their backs against the wall, they really rise to the occasion. We've seen what they've done last year. Not too many people gave them a chance to against the Heat. They took them to 7 games last year. A couple of years ago, they went to the finals when not too many people thought that they were going to do it. I really think I'm gonna go ahead and probably say the Knicks are gonna take this in 6 games. I would not be surprised though if Boston somehow takes this series because it just really depends on, like you said, about the pedigree about Boston. But I'll give you another thing too. It really depends on what happens if the shots are falling for the Knicks. Like as what Charles Barkley has always said, you live by the jump shot, you die by the jump shot. Uh, there's going to be probably some of those games where the three ball is going to be pretty much on for the Knicks. Of course, with Melo and Steve Novak and J.R. Smith. But there's also going to be some of those games where it's not going to be on, and New York is going to have to try to find ways to win when that's not when that's not part of their repertoire. So I really think this is going to actually be the interesting series. Probably going to be the most compelling series of the whole East because you may never know what's going to happen in this one.
Yeah, true. And I just think the Knicks, like you said, the Knicks depend too much on threes. They depend too much on perimeter scoring. I think Boston knows this team in and out. Boston knows the Knicks well. I mean, you said it earlier, they played the Knicks, in the postseason before. Granted, that was a different Knicks team. This team was a little bit more battle tested. They're a little bit more. This is a better Knicks team compared to what Boston faced last time. But I still think that the Knicks. I just think that they got a bad hand getting Boston first round.
That is true. And like I said, and I think if you could just basically say it right now here, pretty much that whole series right then and there. Let's say Boston does go ahead and survive in this here. I pretty much would give them a decent chance to actually go ahead and probably try to make it all the way to the East Finals because they don't have to worry about Miami coming into the next round. I think the winner of this one would get actually the Indiana-Atlanta series. And if Boston could just somehow, continue that playoff experience right there, who knows? We might get a chance to see them in the East Finals. So you may never know about that.
Right.
And so now, since we also mentioned about this other series right here, Indiana is going to take on Atlanta in that part. Your thoughts about that one and who you think is going to win?
I can see Indiana in maybe 7 games. I think that's going to be a close series that people are giving it credit for because you have you have a team in Atlanta that's highly underrated in my opinion, and if they play well this season, I mean Jeff Teague has taken that starting spot and he's done well this year. Josh Smith, although his numbers are he's still a great player. I think it's going to be a great series. I think Indiana's going to get battle tested. I think it's going to be a solid series overall. I think Indiana is one of those teams a lot of people like early in the season, especially when they get the win over Miami. But right now, I think that it's kind of been exposed a little bit. And I think Atlanta will push them to the end. I give Indiana that series in 7. What about you?
I'll say Indiana in 6. As like you said too, about Indiana, there's nothing a lot special about them right then and there, but they do have a very good team. We've seen this team play well over the last couple of years, and especially last year. It's just going to be one of those things here Like I think they've done a pretty decent job at um they've done a pretty decent job without having their leader Danny Granger in the lineup. So it's really going to be with them here. I really actually think Atlanta can go ahead. They might can try to make that a series like you said. I see it going 6 or 7 to be honest with you here too, because really the Pacers really the Pacers kind of scare me here. But we've seen a new Atlanta. This Atlanta team is a little bit new. They're a little bit like they're not like what we're accustomed to over the past couple of years with Joe Johnson, Al Horford, Josh Smith, and the gang, and all of them. They're a little bit different. I don't think, and even though they might still be a little bit of the middle of the road, you can kind of see a little bit of a new identity with this team right now.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna. I mean, they're gonna take. I think it's gonna be a good battle, a good measuring stick for them against Indiana to see where they're at and what direction they need to go after this series. Because a lot of people thought this team would fall flat after losing Joe Johnson, but I mean, they've done well in retooling, and they're in the playoffs once again. And like I said, I can definitely see them. I can see them beating Indiana. Actually, that's why I give it 7. But I think Indiana has the edge because they're a little bit. They've gotten more cohesive as a unit. I'd say over these past 2 years, and I give them the edge right now. But I wouldn't be shocked one bit if Atlanta pulled away from Indiana in this series.
Exactly. And the other series that we were just also talking about too, one of the series that you cannot wait to watch actually, the Brooklyn Nets taking on the Chicago Bulls in the first round, and that series, who you think is going to win that? Well, yes, I think you already told me who you think is going to win that one actually, but how many games you think of the team that's going to win that one?
I think Chicago takes it at 6.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chicago takes it at 6. I think this is a team with a huge chip on the shoulder. This is a team that wants to show people that we're more than just Derrick Rose. We can win. We made it to the playoffs without him. I'm still not certain that Derrick is even going to play this year. This series. I don't think he is. I hope he doesn't because we saw what happened last year. We tried to play against Philly. I'm confident in Chicago's defense to neutralize Williams and Johnson. Nolan Lopez are going to match up well. I just like Chicago's toughness, and I think right now Brooklyn still has a long way to go in terms of getting over that hump. So I'm giving the edge to Chicago right now. What about you?
I'll say Chicago 7 games in this one. Because, like you said, I think Chicago is a little bit more playoff tested, and Tom Thibodeau is going to have this team ready to go, as we've seen over the last couple of years here. I don't think there's nothing really that kind of, stands out about the Nets, other than Joe Johnson. Outside of Joe Johnson and Darren Williams, there's not too much that really stands out to the Nets for me right here. I just kind of think here that, in a way here, even with with or without Derrick Rose, I really think the Chicago Bulls are going to go ahead and take this series, and especially when they get Noah, I bet he's probably going to be back healthy by the first game of the series. Luol Deng, they've done pretty well, and they're going to be motivated by that fact right then and there too.
Yeah, because so many people have written them off a bit, just giving them, like, okay, they don't have roles, so, we'll see you guys next year, but I think this is a team that Philly, losing to Philly last year, I think really set them back as far as, their progress. I think they're going to do well this year in the playoffs. I don't see them going past the second round, but I can see them beat Brooklyn.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like we said, and it's gonna be a shame here that Derrick Rose is not gonna be in this series because, just think if if he would have been healthy here, we would have got a chance to see pretty much two of the best point guards go at it against each other between Darren and D Rose, and I think that would have been a very good treat. But still, there's a lot still that's salvageable out of this series, and there's still going to be some very good games. And I got a good feeling that we're going to probably see some defensive matchups where both teams are probably going to be struggling to get out of the 80s, to be honest with you, too.
I agree with that as well. Yeah, I think that's going to happen because we see the Knicks. They've had times where they have offensive surges with, when Joe Johnson and Aaron get hot along with Brook Lopez. But outside of those three guys, there's nobody really there to carry that offensive load. I mean, Gerald Wallace might have a breakout game every once in a while, but other than that, they're a real average team as far as scoring. We all know the Bulls really are the most dynamic team offensively. They're known more for their defense. So, yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, so basically.
With the Indiana Atlanta series, I could definitely see that being low scoring as well.
Oh yeah, definitely, and because we all know what Indiana can do defensively too. They have one of the better defenses in the league right now. I think they're actually second in scoring defense, so that's one thing right there to look at. And then you also got Atlanta, which sometimes they can score, sometimes they cannot score, sometimes they're a little bit inconsistent. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen in this one right there. So I really think in the East, it might be status quo right then and there, and as far as see who's going to win the first few games of this series, but you're pretty much going to get what you're going to get in this one.
Yeah, I think it really be mostly business as usual with Miami going, and the only surprise that I would say that most people don't agree with would be Boston winning. And I think a lot of, fans of the game wouldn't be too shocked with Boston advancing anyway.
Oh, no.
Considering their championship pedigree.
Oh, no. I don't think we would be. I don't think not too many of the fans right here. I don't think they would be, upset at all about that because, we really enjoy how they play. It's a team full of veterans, like you said, of the championship pedigree and stuff like that. And this could be also one of those big things here just to really get a chance to see how Jeff Green does. Like you said, I think you had mentioned it earlier too. Jeff Green seems to be playing pretty well, and he's actually playing like the guy that we had expected him to play when he was with the Thunder. And that maybe the Celtics would have wished that he would have been out there probably in the playoffs last year. And it kind of would have makes you think here. If Green would have been in the lineup last year, what could they possibly have done? Could they have gone further? Could they have actually pushed themselves past that hump against Miami? We may never know, but it gives you a lot of hope here.
Yeah, it does. Now, I want to ask you, what's going on with the Cavaliers? The Cleveland Cavaliers is the team that didn't make the playoffs, but they fired Scott. What are your thoughts about that?
I really do not think that was the best move for the Cleveland Cavaliers to do. Obviously, so that they have. I read somewhere on I think ESPN. I think the numbers never lie, and also their stats from Elias and stuff. They said that the Cavs have won like 64 games over the past 3 years, while the Heat have won 65 this year. It's just one of those things here. It really takes time, to be honest with you. Byron Scott is a pretty good coach. But the problem is that in his 3 stops, he's had a player that has kind of got him fired. And we don't know what happened. We don't know if Kyrie Irving got Byron Scott fired or not. Many people speculated also in New Orleans here that David West got Byron Scott fired because he was a little bit had a little bit of an issue with the plays, and of course in New Jersey, it was widely speculated right then and there that Jason Kidd got him fired. But I don't think that this was the best move for them. Byron Scott is a pretty good coach. It's just the main thing. Their problem was injuries. They did not have Anderson Varejao for over 50 games this season. Kyrie was hurt for about 20 games this year, and some other players and all that, they were hurt, and you got to think about it like this too. There are young teams as well, so I don't think that was the right move in my opinion right there. What do you think, Rob?
Um, it's getting hard for Byron Scott. I mean, we saw what happened with him in New Jersey and Jason Kidd and the New Orleans thing where they said Chris Paul and him didn't get along and the David Webb. Now you have Cleveland. And I remember when Cleveland hired Byron Scott, they thought, well, hey, maybe we get Byron Scott, they might keep LeBron here, and that didn't happen at all. But, I think he's going to get another shot. Detroit, the Pistons just got rid of Lawrence Frank.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Detroit could be a place, I don't know. He's going to land somewhere. Maybe he'll get back on TV. You never know. But, he's going to find something. He's going to land somewhere. Maybe a college game. Maybe that'll work. I could see him doing great in college. But it's unfortunate. It's definitely unfortunate. But like I said, Byron Scott will land somewhere.
It pretty much is. And I think the market right then and there is pretty much going to be high for him because, like you said, you have Detroit. You also have Philadelphia, who Doug Collins is not going to return for next season. So, you never know what could happen right there, given given if they may get Bynum back or if they use that money to get somebody else. Or you never know, maybe LA could be calling them because you never know what could happen if D'Antoni, let's just say they don't do too well in the playoffs here, you never know what could happen right there. So he'll land somewhere no matter what. He's too good of a coach to really not land anywhere in this one.
I definitely agree with you there.
Now let's also look at it from the Cavaliers standpoint. Who would you like to see them possibly go after?
I would like Avery Johnson to get a chance there, even though, I'm not sure what he's currently has plans to do. But I want to see Avery Johnson maybe. Doug Collins, he's stepping down as coach at Philly. I think he has a year left on his contract. I can see him doing well in Cleveland. Brown, I think he's done. I think he's more comfortable with announcing games now. But I would love to see him come back. Maybe he could do, bring some magic to Cleveland. There's a lot of names out there. I just think there are a few more players away from being contenders in the East. Just a couple more. A player like Kyrie who's exciting to watch. He brings a lot of magic. I think there are a few more games away.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll give you another name here for you too, Brian Shaw. I think he's the assistant coach of the Pacers right now too. Because we've been saying that this is a guy that has pretty much a head coach. Kind of is overdue with a head coaching job. So you never know if they might give him a shot right there too. So you may never know right there. Like I said, I think I have Cleveland as probably like one of those teams that if they can try to make a run to try to get to at least that 7, that maybe that 8 seed in the West, not the West, the East next year, because there's some teams right then and there that has some pretty good potential. Cleveland, Washington, Detroit maybe, Toronto maybe, who knows what happens with Philly. So, the potential's right there, and all you just really have to do is just get to that 8 spot. So, there you go right there.
All right.
So, we're going to go ahead and take ourselves a 30-second break, and we'll come back, and we're going to actually go ahead and we'll talk about the Western Conference and see who's going to make it out of the into the playoffs, and who's going to win each matchup in that one too. I already know Rob's got one prediction already lined up right then and there, but we're going to kind of save that one off until we come back from break. This is the Gafford and Brown Show. All right, we're right back on the show right now. We just got done talking about the East. Let's shift our focus to the West right now. And basically, we're going to go ahead and talk about here the playoff matches right here. And first off, it starts off with the defending West champions, Oklahoma City. They go ahead and they play against an opponent that they really know pretty well, or at least a player that they know pretty well, in the Houston Rockets and James Harden. Your prediction for this series, and well, of course if you probably follow Rob, you already know how's he going right there. But what do you think about this series?
I think it's going to be a high-scoring series. It's going to be fun to watch. The next game, I wouldn't be shocked if James Harden averaged 30 points in the series. And I think they're going to steal a game. I give them one game, and maybe I would be shocked if they stole the first game. I would be shocked if they came out guns blazing, stole the first game, trying to set a tone, and OKC will go ahead and sweep the next four. I see it going five. Thunder just have too many guys that can. Granted, Houston can score. We've seen them put up some crazy numbers this season. They can shoot the three ball well, but when it comes to the middle, I think they still have problems. I mean, they have a great center in I don't want to mispronounce his name. Azek.
Ashik.
Yeah. Azek, yeah. Great center, but he can't score the ball. Great defensive player, great rebounder, but he's not a great scorer. We all know that OKC, they have Ibaka who carries his game to the perimeter now. Perkins who plays hard. He's kind of like a league, but he can't score really well. Then they have to be coming off the bench. The Thunder, they just have a deeper team than Houston. And, I give it all to OKC right now. What about you, Lamar?
I think we really agree here right now on who's going to win the series and also how many games here. I say Thunder in 5 as well because I think they have the firepower to at least go ahead and take one game. Whether it be the first game, I actually think they're probably going to take one of the games in Houston, to be honest with you. I think they might take game 3, maybe game 4 in Houston. But when it's all said and done, I think it's going to be Oklahoma City right then and there. Houston's on the right track, though. I think they're starting to grow a little bit better. They're starting to grow a little bit more right here. And, of course, we know right now, we're looking at the points totals here and all that stuff, that both of these teams, Houston's actually the second highest scoring team in the league. Oklahoma City's not too far behind at number 3. So, we're going to see pretty much it's going to be in the high scoring here. But when it really comes down to who's more playoff ready and everything, it's going to be Oklahoma City. And that's why pretty much I'm going to go ahead and say 5 games.
Yeah, I just think Houston has too much firepower for it to be a sweep. But I give them that one game.
Right, and I think as we said before during the break too, this is kind of the playoff matchup that I kind of did not want to see Houston to be in, because maybe if they would have played against San Antonio, maybe they would have had a little bit more of a chance. Maybe if they would have played against Denver, maybe they would have had a little bit more of a chance, given the nature of how both of those teams match up well, with their offense and defense and all that. But with Oklahoma City, I don't think this is going to bode pretty well for the Rockets. But it will be at least a good learning test right there for them for the years to come as well.
Right, and I think this is a team that's going to take this series loss, and come back stronger next year. Now, we don't know what they're going to do in free agency. We know that they still have, certain feelings toward Dwight Howard, who's going to be a free agent this
And same here. And like you said too, and had to piggyback off this one. The future's bright for this team. So, yeah, you may never know what's going to happen right there. Going also to the other West game here, and it's crazy right now that this series, which we probably would have predicted maybe would have been a West semis or at least maybe even a West final matchup, is we're getting this one in the first round. San Antonio played against the Lakers here in the 2-7 matchup. Your thoughts about that one here?
I think they can go. I think they can go. They can go. That's a tricky series. They can end up going 6 or 7 for me. I think the Lakers and Spurs match up well on paper. We just saw Dwight Howard lead the Lakers over the Spurs not too long ago. I think it's a series that can go either way as far as 6 or 7 games. I still think the Spurs win, but I think the Lakers are going to be highly competitive because they have a lot of pride. They did all that fight just to make the playoffs, so we're going to see.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the case too. Spurs and 6 for me. I would have said 5, but I think that at least you got to give the Lakers a little bit right here in this one right now. They don't have Kobe because of the Achilles injury, but they still have a very good team. And basically, you would think Nash would be back at this point, at that juncture of the time here. You would also think that Gasol is going to be time for him to step up as well. But it's also going to be time really to show to see how Dwight does. This is what you pretty much wished for and all that stuff. This is also going to be one of those litmus tests right there to just show that how can he stack up. As far as the great lineage of centers that the Lakers have had over the years. So I expect if he shows up and all, they can be able to possibly steal the series, given the Spurs having a few injuries and nicks and bruises here and there with Manu Ginobili and also Tony Parker. But I just really would think that the Spurs are going to go ahead and take this in 6 games.
Right, and it's going that way, and we'll see how it goes. But I just think that the Lakers kind of just happen to be there too after all this commotion this year made, and all the trial and errors, and the new coaches and the injuries. Their team is just it's kind of almost like a sigh of relief, but not so much pride. I mean, not so much joy. Just kind of like we keep the streak alive of being in the playoffs and being keeping the tradition alive. But I mean, they're not going to win this series because it's just not enough firepower. I just think the Spurs are too good of a team. But who knows what happens? And we'll see how they look next year. But if the Lakers don't get a bench and they don't get younger, I don't think they're doing that well next year. Even if they are considered OKC is only going to get done. The Spurs are always going to be great because they just have a great front office. Look at Houston's ability to the Denver Nuggets carry me completely because of how they're able to win without having a true superstar. Look at the Clippers, Golden State Warriors. It's just too much competition. And I think that the Lakers have to really sit down and look at how this team is built. You have great big names like Kobe Bryant, Dwight Howard, D-Nash, Gasol, but you don't have a bench. You don't have you to replace these guys. So I think they really have to evaluate themselves. It's all.
And I think that's definitely going to have to be one of those things too, because they're really, that's basically one of their problems, which was over the past couple of years actually, and we've seen it a little bit more this year. Here now, with the injuries here with Kobe Bryant, who you're going to have that's going to be the score right then and there off of the backcourt. You got Steve Blake that might can hit a few shots, but he's no Kobe, of course. Jody Meeks, who might can hit a couple of threes here, but he's no Kobe Bryant. So, that's going to be one of those things that's going to be the telltale sign in this one here too. And another thing that we can't really forget about in this series here, can't really forget about Tim Duncan. He's really turned back the clock in this series too. And you also got to look at San Antonio here. Maybe this might also be the year that finally Tracy McGrady gets out of the first round too. Yeah, say you kind of can't forget about Tim Duncan. Him turning back the clock with some very good games this year and a very good stat line this year. And also, this is also probably going to be the first. This might be the first time really. It might be a good first time that we can actually see Tracy McGrady get out of the first round too.
Tracy McGrady's still in the NBA?
Yeah, Tracy McGrady's in the NBA.
I didn't know that. You just blew my mind.
San Antonio signed him Tuesday.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yep.
The more you know. Breaking news.
Well, we'll go ahead and shift it all along into the next series right here. And I think this is going to be my most important series in this one here. My favorite series that I'm going to get a chance to watch. Denver against Golden State. And, with this series, you're pretty much going to see a lot of high-powered, exciting basketball right here. What do you think about that series, and who you think is going to win that one?
I'll give it to Denver, but this is going to be a good series. I hope it goes 7 games. This is the one series I hope goes 7 games because I fell in love with both of these teams here. The Golden State Warriors has been a team I enjoyed watching since Aaron Davis and those guys were together. Even after that, I like DeMonte Ellis there, and they drafted Stephen Curry and watched him develop. One of them go. Monte in front of the guy that left. He left, watched the goals from Steve up, and they got David Lee. He mold and grow, and I think that this is a good young team that they're just scrapping. And you're proud like that. I mean, Mark Jackson, this is a guy, we fell in love with during his he was announcing with Ray Gundy. And, you just to watch him go, this is only his second year, and take this team and mold them into this being known for being defensive, being, well adjusted. And it's like, it's just fun to watch, so I'm glad that they're in this position to finally show us, that they're real and that they can compete at this level. But I just think right now, the Nuggets are a little too deep. And I think George Carl has the upper hand on Mark, and I give it to the Nuggets. What about you?
I have to say Nuggets in 7 too because and like we said, this is one of those series here that we're really praying that this really goes 7 games because I really hate to have to pick a winner in this series too because I like both of these teams. With Denver on one hand, that you kind of want to see George Karl at least have a pretty good run. He really likes this team right here. Granted, they don't have that superstar, but then again, they just really have crazy depth, and that's going to be one of those things right there. That's going to be the telltale sign with them, and seeing how far they can go. And I think that this. If they can actually maneuver themselves in this playoffs, they actually have a decent chance to make it out of the West. Well, not out of the West, but at least get to the West Finals, and that's going to be one thing right there. With Golden State, I really like this team too. Shout out to Stephen Curry, who just broke that 3-point record as well. You also got Klay Thompson. You also got Harrison Barnes. You got a very good team right then and there. That right now you kind of can see here they don't rely on offense like they used to. They have they're a little bit more defensive minded with Mark Jackson, but they still have that offensive power too.
Right. Exactly. It's gonna be fun to watch. I just hope that this series, I just hope it stays competitive.
And
And I
likewise,
hope that we get to see a 7-game series between these two.
likewise, same here too, and at least have some high scoring games that's like in the hundreds, 110s, something somewhere like that. So, who knows what happens right there. Um, Last but not least here, we get our first and only rematch here of the whole series right now. The Clippers against Memphis. We talked about them earlier. We talked about them earlier in the show. A little bit different this year. Clippers have home field advantage. Memphis does not. We do remember what Memphis did last year. They let a couple of games get away from them. Your thoughts about that one?
I'm giving it to Memphis. I think Memphis just has. I just think they have a lot of revenge on their mind for their last series.
Yeah, I gotta say Memphis too. Memphis in 7. I think they would have won that series last year, not just because of defense, but because of what a couple of things that probably happened along the line later in the games and all that stuff. And I think I can still remember that. I don't know, was it Memphis that gave up a very big lead against the Clippers, or was it vice versa last year?
What you say?
Was it Memphis that gave up that I think it was like a 20-point lead? Was it?
Yeah, that first game. Yeah, they gave them that huge lead.
Yeah, I still remember that one too, right there. And I kind of think right now that we don't. It's not Rudy Gay's team. Is pretty much now. You got Zebo and you also got Marc Gasol. So they're going to be able to control it inside the paint and everything. So that's going to be one thing there. But I really think that Memphis is going to go ahead and take this series right now. They don't have to worry about if they could just go past what happened offensively late in games last year. I think they have a pretty decent chance to win the series, but expect it to go 7
Right.
because both of these teams know each other well.
Yeah, and I just think that it's going to be a great matchup overall because last year's series was so good. It went 7. To me, it was the best series of the whole first round of the playoffs.
So I think I really cannot state that one much more, a little bit better here on that one here. That this is gonna be a pretty exciting series, of course. Because you've got the two contrasting styles right here. Again, it's just gonna show right here. Will the Clippers have the Clippers learn anything from what they did last year about the half court offense? And that's going to be one of those things too. So there's that. Now, also keeping it in the basketball thing, and we talked about the White right then and there. Interesting thing, as I was watching the Lakers Rockets game last night, that Jeff Van Gundy was talking about possible destinations for Dwight Howard, and I think he had mentioned here that there's pretty much going to be 4 teams that are going to be in 4 major players that's going to be in the Dwight Howard race. You got the Lakers, of course. You got Houston, who's really looking for that one more big star right then and there. You got the Dallas Mavericks, who is not in the playoffs this year, but could also be trying to look for that one major piece to help out Dirk. And then you also got the Atlanta Hawks, his home in Atlanta, which possibly can pair him up with Josh Smith once again too. Where do you see the White ending up at?
He stays in LA. He has to. He has to stay in LA, and he has to stay because they're the only team really to me that, other than Houston, that let's make plans for him long term. I mean, we know he's going to get a big deal. The Lakers are going to cut some salary. They're going to augment some things to give him the money he wants. It's LA, it's Lakers fan, man. Kobe only has about 2 more years left, and you know, he's going to be his team. Now, Houston is sexy because you have James Harden, Lynn, and you know they're going to probably let a couple guys go to make room to sign Howard for a big deal. But other than Houston, LA has to stay in LA.
Yeah, I kind of say the same thing too. If you were to have me rank probably the places that he would probably go, I probably would go ahead and say maybe LA is 1. LA's 1. Atlanta's 2 to me, because I think the intriguing thing is he would be at home and then he would also get a chance to play with Josh. And that's probably going to be one thing. And you never know what they could happen. They might could try to swing a trade for, maybe they might try to swing a trade for Chris Paul. Who knows? But I just really think that the Clippers are going to, some type of way, they're going to clipper this whole thing up like they always do. But if they stay committed to Chris Paul, you know, that's going to be another thing as well. 3 would be Houston. Actually, I take that back. Maybe you could tie Houston along with Atlanta in this one, because you never know what Daryl Morey can do. And I just think the last place is going to be Dallas, because I don't think that they should go after the White, to be honest with you. I think that they just need to get players that they really would love to try to get. That they need. They don't necessarily have to try to get the player that they want right there. So I think that would be my ranks right there.
Yeah, and I just see it going. It's hard to gauge sometimes, but that's definitely going to be one of the most interesting matchups. What about I was going to ask you about how would you deal with you being a Navs fan? I just saw this with OJ Mayo saying he'll opt out his deal.
Ooh, this is the interesting thing right here, because I think what Mayo really wants is he wants to try to get a long-term deal. And I actually got a chance to see a little bit of this. There was a little bit of a rift between him and Rick Carlisle that came to a little bit of a head, I think Monday after the Grizzlies series right there. And it seems like right now both parties are a little bit far apart. Mayo says he wants to stay. Carlisle kind of has it set in his mind that Mayo kind of wants to go, and so that's gonna be interesting right there. I really hope that he gets it. I really hope that he does stay though, because this gives him. I think this is the perfect team right here that gives him a chance to grow a lot too. And this is also a veteran team, so with a good mix of youth as well. So you know, because you never know right now what could happen when Dirk gets ready to retire and everything. The keys would be pretty much to OJ Mayo. So that's an interesting thing right there. What are your thoughts about that one?
I think it's true. I think he's looking to get paid, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's looking to get paid. He probably wants to play. He probably feels that Dallas is in a rebuilding mode, and maybe he wants to play for a contender right now. I mean, all those years of Memphis of being, you know, on the bubble, and they finally, you know, get it in the playoffs. You know, I guess he wants to play for a contender now. I would be shocked if he tried to get to Miami. You know, they might be throwing away with some people, older people like Mike Miller, a couple guys. So we'll see. We'll see where he goes. I think he might want to play. I think he'll stay in Dallas if he gets something long term from them. But he's only 25, so we'll see.
Right. That's the thing too. He has a lot more in his career here. And reading it a little bit right now, he has not closed the door to wanting to come back to Dallas. So we'll say that much right there. I think that Dallas should go ahead and try to pay him if they could, because he is we already know that he's part of the rebuilding role right here, but then again, he is also a huge part of that role right there, because you may never know. This is a team that had Dirk might have still been healthy, he probably would have got a chance to. He might would have played. They might would be in the playoffs right now. Yeah, you never know how that could have been right then and there. And just to imagine here that this is a team that was 10 games under 500, and they came back up to finish the season even at 41-41 is a pretty good testament right there that this is a team that still has what it takes in order to try to make a run in the West. I just think that if they don't sign him back, that might be a little bit that might play a little bit part right here to the rebuilding mode, and I kind of don't want to see that, especially for Dirk in his final few years as well too. So, but as far as the market here, if he doesn't go to Dallas, like you said, Miami might could try to sign him. They might try to sign him cheap, but at least he gets a chance to win a ring. He might try to go somewhere else where they might need a pretty good shooting guard too.
Right. And, who knows what happens, but, maybe they can keep him. Like I said, if he gets that long-term deal, he probably won't. But, I mean, if you're Dallas, why not? What else? I mean, they came, even after that horrible start, they still came close to making the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So, you want to kind of build around Dirk a little bit, because, Dirk has a little left in the tank, so who knows, So, we'll see.
Yeah, that's the thing right then and there. So we may never we'll see what's going to happen within the next couple of weeks. Of course, I just have a feeling that he just really wants to be paid, because that's pretty much the reason why he wants to opt out of the deal. So I wouldn't panic quite yet. But if his price tag is a little bit too much for the Mavericks and stuff, I would love to see him try to at least try to go out there and be big players for him, because I would really love to see Mayo stay there, really, because I think he's just the future of that team. So there you go, right there. Now we're also we're pretty much gonna go ahead and take ourselves another little break here, and we'll be back talking a little bit about the unfortunate events that happened at the Boston Marathon and pretty much our thoughts about that one. We'll be right back in about 30 seconds with the Gafford and Brown Show. Back with the Gafford and Brown Show. We just got done finishing talking about the NBA, the stuff that's going on in the NBA. A little bit something that Rob just told me too, that Mike Woodson is the coach of the month. Thoughts about that one? Yeah, you pretty much had to give it to him, for that one too, because and you look at the Knicks. Right now they're the number 2 seed right here. He's got them ready to go for the playoffs. I know he's not going to win the Coach of the Year or anything else like that, but I think if he finishes in the top 5, I think that'll be pretty decent right there for him too. So, hats off to him on that one too.
Mike D'Antoni was the West selection, Western Conference Coach of the Month.
I think that's well deserved too, in a way, because you kind of got to look at you got to look at it and see what he did with the Lakers. It's just I got a feeling this is going to be all for naught about what if they don't do too well in the playoffs and they fire him.
Right.
So that's also going to be another thing right there that many people are going to have to really look at right there. Let's shift our focus though outside of the basketball world and pretty much outside of the sports world too, And as what a lot of people may have realized right there, our thoughts and prayers go out to the people that happened in the Boston Marathon tragedy. If you do not know already, we saw that there were about two explosions. Three people died as a result. Many people were injured and everything. It just the whole thing that just happened right then and there is just was so surreal about it all. And I mean, your thoughts about that one, Rob?
Um, I still don't know all the exact details, but I've heard about it, and it's definitely a tragic event. Tragic that lives were lost. Tragic that you know, people were injured. Just a sad situation. It's something that you really pray for people for in this time, and I hope that we find out who done it or what's behind it, and these people are brought to justice.
Likewise, and for those that don't know, I mean, the Boston Marathon is a huge deal, pretty much, and not just in the U.S., not just the Boston, but in the world, because it attracts a lot of people from everywhere that compete in the whole race right there, and just the again the feeling here that something like this would go on and happen. It's just a horrible thing right then and there, and we've really seen great deals of companionship right there after that, because I think there was like a couple of instances right there where the Boston Bruins, they had a national anthem. Somebody sung a very good rendition of it. I haven't heard it yet, but I heard that it's kind of like one of those ones that'll make you go in tears a little bit. Um, I think before or after the Boston Celtics game against the Toronto Raptors up there in Toronto, um, both the Raptors and the Celtics said a little bit of a prayer during it, and then during the game or after the game and everything. And then you also had the Red Sox, which I really think that this was also the best sign of loyalty right there, that we saw the Yankees really showed very good class about themselves by standing with Boston at there, and then also singing a staple of Fenway Park, a Sweet Caroline. So it's just, again, it's just one of those things that you cannot wrap your head around here and all that stuff, and it's just one of those things that's just so sad right there, just to have to really go through.
Yeah, I just hope that we find out who was behind this, and things like that, and just prayers go out to the families and victims, affected by this tragedy.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. That's pretty much all what we can say right now, and really, that's just all. That's it right there. So there you go on that one. Um, Gonna try to shake back a little bit right now here, and try to at least with the uneasy task of trying to change course a little bit. The NFL schedule release is going to happen tonight um, on primetime TV. I think it's going to be about 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock East, 5 o'clock Pacific. 3 o'clock Hawaii, blah blah blah, and all that stuff. But right now we already we kind of got a little bit of a leak here about who's going to be some of the marquee games. And right now, it looks like your Broncos got 6 primetime games.
Yeah, compliments of Mr. Manning. I saw the first game being against Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. So that's different. But
That's
I just think that playoff games is good, but at the same time, when you have a team, when your team becomes a big topic and a big deal, they have success, you kind of want to be away from the limelight because you don't want to get jinxed.
Right, that's kind of another thing too. Cause not saying that I don't think that Denver can can bounce. That they're not ready for that spotlight because dang, they got Peyton Manning right here. But that's gonna be one of those things to really watch out for. And I think we got a chance to see some of the games right here. I retweeted this a little bit earlier. I think from let me see. Let's look in here. It's from Peter Burns. I think he's a sports guy from Denver. He's a radio host of Fox Sports Radio in Denver, Colorado. It says right here that it looks like we already know what one of those games is going to be here. As of course we just talked about the Broncos Ravens game right off the bat, but the Broncos also probably have the Patriots on primetime, the Colts on primetime, of course, because everybody would love to see Luck versus Manning. The Giants on primetime, of course, because of the Branding brothers. Like we said, the Patriots, of course, the Brady Manning matchup once again. And another one looks like right now the primetime matchup that's going to happen on Thanksgiving Day. Your Broncos against my Cowboys.
Yeah, I was privy to them playing this season, but I didn't know it was Thanksgiving. So, I ain't gonna lie, last time we played, you guys Thanksgiving, we won, so.
Yeah. Well, I hope there's going to be at least a different story on this one, though, too. And, of course, we all know that we might have a wager pretty much bet in this one here, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll say it right now, if we win, you're going to have to take a profile pic. Your profile picture is going to have to be you wearing a Bardo paraphernalia of some sort.
Oh, dang. That probably is going to be likewise for you, too, if we win.
Oh, yeah. And I've never been adorned in blue and silver, Dallas colors. Never. So, it would be the first.
Yes, definitely. So, we're really gonna see that one here, too. And also looking at it, too, that we may as far as the Broncos right now, their other primetime game could either be against the Redskins or the Texans. So who's it going to be? Well, we'll just have to wait to find out tonight to see. And of course, we'll probably talk a little bit more about it later once it actually does come out, and probably on the upcoming show right there. But I really hope that it is the Texans. But if it's the Redskins, and if RG3 is back for that game, then of course I wouldn't complain about it either.
Right, and hopefully he's back in time.
Right, so we may never know what's going to happen. So we may never know what's going to happen about that one. Just looking at it right here, and then also we've got the draft. We got the draft coming up right now too. That's going to come up in about a week too. That's going to also be interesting to see who really actually gets a chance to move up and everything, and who's going to be the number one pick and all that stuff too.
Yeah, I think our next show is probably going to cover a lot of draft talk.
Definitely, because I think we got ourselves a pretty good, interesting thing right here that we're going to see what's going to happen here. So you may never know about it. So we'll just go ahead. Let's see. We'll go ahead take a little bit of another break right there. We're pretty much going to try to wrap up the show. We might have some more news about some other sports news as well to talk about this too. It's the Gafford and Brown Show. We'll be right back. Wrap up the show right now with this one. We're right back with the Gafford and Brown Show, and this is pretty much gonna be the point in time where we're gonna try to wrap up the show just to see here what else is there going on in the sports world today. Right now, officially, the New Orleans Hornets are now officially the New Orleans Pelicans here. So we've already talked about the new name change. A lot of people not a lot of people that's kind of outside of New Orleans and outside of Louisiana not kind of receiving the name change as well. But I think we had mentioned this once before on the other show here. We said the same thing about the Oklahoma City Thunder. We said the same thing about their uniforms there and all that stuff. Once again, I think it just continues again. Like if you win, everything will get better.
Right, exactly. We had a discussion about this earlier. I like the name. You like it. The memorabilia looks good.
So it's just again, it's just all about trying to it's all about trying to. It's a new identity for the team here, and this of course, and this is a team that's really going to try to. Hopefully, they can try to do some big things in the years to come too, especially in that tough division that they're in the Southwest with teams with Dallas and San Antonio, Houston, and Memphis. So who knows what could happen? They got the nucleus here. You never know. So
Right.
here's some more news that's actually shocking me right now here. Um, According to owner Josh Harris of the Philadelphia 76ers, and this is from Philly.com that I'm reading about, the 76ers are actually still interested in Andrew Bynum.
Well, I mean, sign him for a year and see what happens.
Yeah, and I say why not? Because they really need a center. If they don't have this guy, I mean, who else are you going to turn to? Kwame Brown, Spencer Hawes. I would probably rather take an Andrew Bynum on bad knees than Kwame Brown. We already know that. So sign up for a year, like you said. He might be it might be a low risk, but then again, it might be a high reward.
Right. And, you just hope it works out because, I mean, let's be honest. If it wouldn't work out this year, I highly doubt Doug Collins would have resigned this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, you just look at it and you kind of hope that there's some silver lining to this because their whole season was make or break on basically finding things to, be that center they needed, their future.
Right. So and I think this is also part of the reason that really set the Sixers back because you would have thought that he would have been on the team. They would have thought that they would have got him, and then unfortunately it did not pan out that way, and they were on the outside looking in. But if they don't give up on this guy, and what if he does turn out to what if he does turn out to be at least, let's say 90, let's say 85% of the player that he was before the injuries and all that. I think he could be just enough really right there just to put the Sixers in the contention of possibly making it to the playoffs. So you may never know right there.
Right.
So also some more news and all that stuff. It says right here that Rasheed Wallace retires again from the NBA. Yeah. Well, I think we're just gonna really miss mostly about this is the she-tastic quotes that he has, like both teams play hard and the ball don't lie and all that. So, and the technical fouls.
Oh, yeah. I was just wondering, because I haven't seen him much this season. I saw him earlier this season. Hasn't really seen him much.
Hurt. He's been hurt. He's been hurt a little bit. I think he came back this week. Made a couple of shots, then got hurt again, and just basically just said that no mas pretty much to the whole thing. So there you go. So and then also another thing right here, it looks like Notre Dame is getting paid some more, paid again once again, it looks like Notre Dame they have their deal with NBC. I think that's going to continue to go on now to 2025. Thoughts about that one?
Well, they get a lot of ratings off of Notre Dame because Notre Dame, now that they're winning, it seems like a great thing to do because, let's be honest, a couple years ago, I mean, you were making money really off the game. Now you're making money off of a winning, franchise. So as long as they keep winning, it's going to be a good look. I think probably one of the highest rated games before the whole winning thing started was when they played USC back in 05, 06.
Mm-hmm.
That game, I want to say with the overtime and if they push the bad liner over the goal line, and now they're winning, and Brian Kelly seems to be staying there. I think it's a great move. To have exclusive rights to them and show their games, more money for them.
And yeah, it's pretty much going to be the same too because like we said, they're winning, and winning cures pretty much everything. And of course, we already know with Notre Dame, the name that they bring. Of course, they're gonna get very good recognition, not just from TV, but just anybody. And that's that's part of the reason why they're not in the conference anyway. But the other thing though is too winning also makes everything a whole lot better too. And really, the situation is going to be here. Sadly, we're going to see some of these rivalries go away because of them, having a little bit of agreement with the ACC and playing some of those games right there. But at least you're going to get a chance to see some more marquee games here. Maybe you might get a chance to see. Maybe, who knows? Maybe the Notre Dame Miami game is a yearly staple. So, and maybe NBC gets a chance to show it a whole lot.
Right.
So we may never know about that one right there too. And another thing, let's see here. Just reading some more stuff here about this, and yeah, it's just crazy. And actually, to be honest with you, here's another thing about some breaking news right here. Well, actually, that happened like 12 hours ago. It just seems like the Lakers are actually going to be committed to Mike D'Antoni.
Yeah, I read that earlier. Smart move. Smart move to keep him for now. I mean, because you don't want to be on your third coach within, 2 years. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's smart to keep him. But also, this just hit me hard, too. Rest in peace to Pat Summerall, man.
Oh yes, definitely, and I'm glad you said something about it too, because I'm glad you said something about it because for those that don't remember, like it used to be a staple just to watch every Sunday during the football season. You would want to at least try to see what game that Pat Summerall and John Madden was doing, because you knew that if they were doing the game that you were watching, or if they were doing your favorite team's game, you knew it was a big deal right then and there.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, I miss those days of Fox and Madden and Summerall. In my opinion, one of the best announcing duos in all of sports. I just miss those days, man. And Summerall was a great announcer. Played the game. Had a history of alcoholism, became a true champion for sobriety and being the face of Alcoholics Anonymous, and just a great man overall. So, this is really sad moments for sports broadcasting and just sports in general.
Right, and and especially in the whole field that we're both trying to get into as well, and everything here too, that we all looked up to him, and we, especially with broadcasting, and he always called the game, and he always knew the game very well. He was one of the best play. I said that he was possibly one of the best play-by-play men ever, especially in the football and pretty much every other things too. And it was a great testament that he's kind of stayed in the Dallas area as well, even after him even after not after let me try to get it out. After John Madden left for ABC, and that it was also a testament to his talent and all that when I think Fox used to have him come back in for like some of those the Cotton Bowl matchups too. So yeah, it's just a sad day, and pretty much to our childhood and everything because we if you're not the only person here, you pretty much you pretty much grew up on Madden and Summerall, and you knew it right then and there, and of course you knew it from Madden or from playing games of Madden as well too.
Right.
So it's just a really sad day about that right there, and it's just rest in peace to him.
But
So.
I want to see how John Madden's gonna take this. I haven't heard any word from him.
And that's the one thing I'm very interested in hearing from him too about it because I'm very sure that he is pretty distraught over the whole thing because of how close those two were, and you know these two were on CBS, and then they moved when they moved there they moved to to everything. And actually, this is what John Madden. I actually pulled up a quote right here about what John Madden said. He said, "I was the luckiest guy in the world to be able to do what I'm doing, and then to be able to do it with Pat Summerall. He's a very special guy." And then also in another quote right here that I saw from NPR actually, he calls Pat Summerall the voice of football. So
That's pretty accurate.
that's it.
That's yeah.
So that's very accurate about this whole thing right then and there too. And like I said, like, once again, rest in peace and the whole thing and everybody. It just seemed like everybody had, in a way, a lot to say about it. Reggie Bush had something to say. Even Lil Wayne had something to say. And a lot more people even had something to say too about the whole thing. And it's just, like I said, just sad about it. So, um, and speaking of, and I hate the, and speaking of here a little bit too, um, I'm just gonna go ahead and announce this to everybody that probably did not get a chance to listen to it as well. Um, I will be also the new sports editor of a newspaper in Natchitoches, Louisiana, the Natchitoches Times as well too. So that's a very interesting big step up as well, right then and there. And for those that actually are also wondering about the direction of the show, how that's gonna actually wind up at, this show is not gonna go anywhere, so don't worry about it. So that's not the show's not gonna go anywhere. It's actually gonna be to be honest with you on this one here too. Me and Rob will actually get a chance to probably do it. Actually, to be honest with you, more often now at the same place at the same time too.
Right.
So I just felt like just to announce it if for the people that probably had not even got a chance to and just chance to do it and
Yeah.
all this stuff too.
And job well done, man. Congrats again.
And thank you very much. And like I said, this is just something that once again that we've all tried to go through and try to at least we try to dream of this day. Try to dream of this day here. Me and you both. And like I said, I'm glad that this paper got the opportunity to help me out and actually just to basically throw a raft to me right here, right then and there to me. And so, like I said, this is pretty much step one right now. We never know what could happen. We hope bigger and better things could happen, not just only for for the career that I have, but also for your career, for this show, maybe for this show as well. For our blogging as well too. So you know, it's a lot of stuff that's on the line right now. But as long as we just continue to not to give up about it.
Exactly. Gotta have faith.
And that's just to anybody right now that's just watching on the show. And let's see, that's the reason why we actually have a lot of people. We try to mix it in between established journalists, and we also try to mix it into journalists that are trying to make it in there too. Because gotta have that feeling right then and there that you know we're trying to make it as the same right as they're trying to make it as well. So, of course, when they have us on shows, we're extremely grateful for that, and and the same thing vice versa when we have them on this show too. So, but like I said, we are not going anywhere. The difference is we probably have a little bit more night shows than what we did back in the day, back than we do now. But can't wait for this move right then and there, and who knows, we might get some more viewers and all that stuff too.
Right, exactly.
So pretty much that's gonna wrap it up for this show right here. When would you say our next show is gonna be on this one, Rob?
Um, maybe we do one. Man, that's gonna be tough because
Now I'm off all week.
maybe next Friday, maybe.
All right.
That might be the latest, unfortunately. I'll let you know. We'll work something out.
We'll definitely will, and of course we always will find out, and we always do let you guys know and all this stuff about this too. So pretty much that's the wrap for episode number 22 in the books. I'm Lamar Gafford,
I'm Robert Brown.
and once again we're basically going to go ahead and just say see you later. Have a nice day. And we'll be right back next week with your possibly a little bit of an update about the draft. Or we might talk a little bit about the draft, a little bit of a recap, or maybe even a preview. So we'll be right back next week.